Sorry about that. All right, so where we left off was looking at this equation, C equals D, K times D, where C represents our circumference, D is the diameter, and K is some constant. Now, based on the work we did on the applet, our numbers obviously were estimated because of the ruler. We didn't get exact answers because the ruler wasn't the easiest to work with, but taking and looking at those values, our constant is close to 3.1. So we had, 3 was our diameter, radius. No, diameter. 3 was our 3 was our diameter, and when we found the circumference, we had a little less than 9.5. I rounded it up to 9.5. And so if we think 9.5 divided by 3, that's going to be close to 3.1. 9.5 divided by 3 is actually 3.16. So we were pretty close with our value. So that's why our constant is about 3.1. Same with the other ones. They're all very close to a 3.1. And obviously we have a little bit of an estimate because we didn't get exact values for our circumference because of the ruler being complicated. So whenever we're doing the measurements, there's always a little bit of room for error because we don't necessarily get it exactly right, or we get the wrong number down because we're using the ruler, all those sorts of things. So it's just user error. And so that's okay. That's understandable when we're measuring things, that there is room for error and room for different possible answers. But the constant that we found was 3.1, which is going to be helpful in this next thing we look at. So calculating circumference and diameter. Here are 5 circles. One measurement for each circle is given in the table. Use the constant proportionality estimated in the previous activity to complete the table. So that's our 3.1. So here's our table. Diameter is 3. We want to find their circumference. So if C equals 3.1 times D, we're going to take our diameter of 3 and multiply it by 3.1. I'm going to make this a little bigger. So if we take 3 and multiply it by 3.1, we're going to get 9 point, that's supposed to be a point, 9.3. Now, diameter, we have a diameter of 10. So we're going to take 3.1 and multiply it by 10. When we do that, because we're multiplying by 10, it just moves the decimal place once. So we end up with 31. Now, for C and D, we're given the circumference instead of the diameter. So we're going to do those last and finish out the last one with the diameter. So for circle E, we have a diameter of 1. So we're just going to take 1 times 3.1. So we end up with 3.1 for circumference. Now, for circle C and circle D, we're given that 24 equals 3.1 times the diameter. And we want to take and solve for that diameter. So what we do is we're going to divide our circumference by 3.1. So when we do that, we're going to end up with about 7.7. It's a big, long, repeating decimal, but it'll be approximately 7.7. And so we'll do the same thing for circle D. We'll take 18. We know it equals the 3.1 times D. And we need to take and divide by the 3.1. So when we divide once again, I don't know what this is doing. We divide those, we're going to find out that D equals approximately 5.8. So there is our diameter. So if we have the circumference and we want to solve for diameter, we're going to divide by our constant. If we have the diameter and we want to solve for circumference, we're going to multiply by that constant. So that's how it works going between the two forms of the function not the two forms, going between the two parts of the function and solving for both of them. So we can switch back and forth for which we solve. All right, if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Your keyword for these 2 lessons. So remember, you just have one keyword for the 2 lessons because it's a keyword daily, is circles. Circles is your keyword for this lesson, circles. All right, have a great day, guys.